Impact segment tonight. In my 30 years as a media person, this next situation is the worst I've ever seen. This is not for children. Shock jocks Opie and Anthony, employed by CBS Radio and XM, held a conversation about raping Laura Bush and Condoleezza Rice. Now, I'm only going to play you a few seconds of it for obvious reasons.
Condoleezza Rice?
Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah. I love the that She needs the man.
Yeah.
Okay. The viciousness of that radio conversation dwarfs anything I've ever heard. And now attention focuses to CBS and XM. Joining us now from Dallas, radio talk show host Mike Gallagher. And from Chicago, Mancow, who himself does provocative radio, but nothing like this. All right, so Mancow, look. CBS pays these guys. This did not run on CBS Radio because CBS cuts these guys. They edit them. XM is a subscription service. You've got to buy that. This went out live on XM. What do you do?
Well, you don't do anything. You don't do anything. Here's the deal. It's already over. You can't, in this society, we're still a civilized society, you can't talk about raping the First Lady and raping the Secretary of State. Look, they're deviants. This is easy. It takes no talent to do this. This is voyeuristic pornography, and they're done. This is the end. They should have been done when they had people having sex in a church, but this is finally going to be the end of Ugly and Anthony.
But why is it going to be the end if you say don't do anything? I mean, is CBS going to fire them? Is XM going to fire them, do you think?
Well, Bill, listen, you have the Radio Factor. I do a silly little radio show, and as I talk to people around the country, the fact is that who's going to advertise on that? They talked about raping the First Lady. This isn't a free speech issue. We don't need more government. They cross the line. It's over. Look, I'm sitting here. You're sitting here. We're like Osmosis Jones, you know. We're the good white cells, the white blood cells. This is a cancer, and they're going to be gone.
All right, so you think that advertisers now won't step up. Do you agree, Gallagher?
There are no advertisers on XM. The advertisers are the people who are paying the $9 or $10 a month to listen to that kind of filth. And the fact of the matter is, if you're going to get all righteously indignant over Opie and Anthony on a pay service, you better start going on a campaign to get porn stars fired, because that's the moral equivalent. These guys are porn stars of pay radio.
All right, what about the CBS component, though? Now we're back into, and again, it did not run on CBS. They did not put it on. But what about that component of it?
They're self-policing themselves, as you said, Bill. Evidently, they're employing the delay, and they're editing out this vile stuff. They're keeping the vile stuff on the pay service. And I got to tell you, I mean, even though I respected CBS's and understood CBS's decision to fire Imus for crossing that mythical line, whatever it is, I just really get annoyed that we're all surprised at people who've been doing this shtick for years.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the worst.
Years.
Come on, let's be honest. This is the worst.
Worse than sex and
yeah, it's worse than porn, Gallagher. It's worse, okay? And it's a lot worse. And here's what, and let me tell you why. What if these guys go on the air, and they might, on Monday, and say, let's everybody rape Gallagher's wife. Let's do that. Now
what they do.
Okay, so you would say nothing? You would.
Well, it's what they do. I mean, but believe me, I'm not going to act like I'm shocked that there's gambling in Casablanca.
Okay, I know it's what they do, but what do you do in response to that?
Well, I sure as heck am not going to pay a dime to XM Satellite to pay money to make these guys rich.
You're going to be philosophical about it. Mancow, are you married?
Thank you.
Are you married?
I didn't want to talk. Look, the Emma station here in Chicago, which you can see in the background, did a thing where they talked about pulling off the diapers off my babies. They're not 2 years old, and raping them. Okay, this does happen,
kids,
Gallagher.
your kids.
Absolutely.
And what did you do,
Bill O'Reilly?
And what did you do?
Well, I'm talking to lawyers right now, and I'm not kidding you. This is for real. What I'm trying to tell you is, look, I'm not saying that the government should get involved. I don't disagree with him. They can do it all they want. But you and I have a right, as good guys, to stand up and say enough is enough. You're not going to do this. Well, can you imagine? These are liberal guys. Can you imagine if Rush or Hannity or you, Bill, got on and talked about raping Hillary? You'd be out of the country by now. But these guys are getting a free pass because the media hates this First Lady and hates Condoleezza Rice. Yes, sir.
You better be careful, though, because if I'm not mistaken, I read about you in the New York Times last week, and I'm a big fan of your work. I respect what you do, but you know what? There are people who are offended by what you do. There are people that are offended by what I do on the radio, and there are people offended by Bill O'Reilly. We're going to use that as the
No, but look, there is a barometer of behavior. Hold it. There is a barometer of behavior, Mike, and I think you're losing sight of that. I mean, first, yes, you are. First, you make a comparison to porn stars. There's no comparison. This is two guys who go on and allow some other guy to go on and say, let's rape the First Lady and the Secretary of State and yuck it up. That's more than some porn movie, Mike. It's more.
It's
a lot
it's audio.
more.
It's filth. It's filth. It's vile. It's disgusting. But you know what? I was in a hotel room last night in Wichita, and I flipped on HBO, and there were people having real sex.
There's no comparison to that.
Of course there is, because you got to pay for HBO.
It's not even close. It's like comparing the Brady Bunch to Charles Manson. I mean, this is the worst. We have reached the nadir. God help me. I'm going to give Mancow the last word. Go.
All right. Wow, the final word on O'Reilly. Look, here's the deal. Good people got to do good things. When you hire bad people, they do bad things. CBS, they don't want to make these guys rich. They got a new guy, this Mason guy. He's going to do the right thing. They're going to be fired, and we'll never have to hear about this filth again. And I'd cancel my subscription. If I had that subscription, Mr. O'Reilly, I would cancel it, and that's it. That's the final word.
All right, gentlemen, thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Okay,
Directly ahead, while the U.S.